and that I worked on racetracks and that I drank and I bet. Oh, I don't have many vices.
You had a lot going for you at that age.
Yeah, and that the remote belongs to me. And if there's a race coming up somewhere, it doesn't matter where it is, if I've got an interest in it to some degree, it chimes in over the top of things like Days of Our Lives or Celebrity Splash or something like that.
So she knew the rules from day one pretty much, and
she's obviously followed them then.
Obviously.
I think he's just described Homer Simpson.
No, it's gone fast. And actually, one of the first involvements that we had as a couple, and Linda got hooked on the bug as well, was we had a dog in the mid-'80s called Blue Coo, who ran second. I think he went second in the Silver Chief to a dog trained by Ned Bryan called Rumpus Papa. But he won the Canberra Cup. He ran second in the Shepparton Cup, and we used to take the kids around to all these dog meetings with him, and then we subsequently got more dogs. So she was bitten by the bug as well, so it was good.
Now, we've got a couple of feature races here in Melbourne on Thursday night, apparently, that we're meant to be talking about on this show. So we might get your thoughts. You would have watched these heats last week, Daff, so we'll chime in with a tip or two. Kel will probably throw in 6 tips for each race, but just ignore them.
Okay.
I'm certain to get a winner that way.
Yeah, no, you're flying, Kel. Your strike rate's tremendous.
It is.
She's even thrown a few scratchings in that have been known to bob into the first 4. The Harrison-Dawson final, we might kick off with Kel.
Oh, geez.
You would have looked at these replays and dissected this race, Kel?
No, you're getting me confused with Shona.
Yeah. Right, do you fancy anything in the race?
Yeah, I'm going to go Glengallen. I think his run last week was, obviously a good run, but time-wise, and I don't know, I've never really tipped him before in these big races, but I can see that, think that he's going to get a nice run.
I think he'll be the sentimental favourite, because I think a lot of people would love to see Glengallen win a big race in Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm with Cal totally on this. I'm right behind Glengallen. His run last week was unbelievable, and
if he can do it again,
he's coming up 4 years old, and to run the time that he's running, and with all the travelling he's done, and I just think Tony Brett's done a super job with the dog.
There's nothing to say he won't be going around in the Top Gun and Melbourne Cup at the end of the year, Daff, the way he's going.
He's been a phenomenal dog, hasn't he? And his last couple of runs in Melbourne, when he won the heat of the Melbourne Cup, and that was an awesome run. He ran down one of Cal Greeno's dogs. But last week was a terrific performance.
But don't forget his Melbourne Cup run in the final wasn't bad itself.
Yeah, and for some reason he seems to go better when he's drawn 3 or 4.
Poorly,
yeah. He does.
Drawn the red a couple of times and bombed the start and got into trouble. But he's going to be pretty hard to beat. The two that I thought would be in the finish of the 2 run-on jobs, which is Emery Bale and Glengallen. But I'd love to see Glengallen win a feature in Victoria, because I just don't think they've seen the best of him down there.
Yeah, we've seen snippets of his brilliance, like he got to the Silver Chief and looked like he had that one and a Tim Lee. Things came undone for him in that. So there's been a few races where he's looked likely to win. And did you hear that noise?
Yeah, I did. Actually,
yeah.
That was Shona.
That was Rob.
Rob, quite clearly the wheels have completely fallen off the...
Well, actually, I stuck my finger out and Kelly pulled it. The Macro Meat Sapphire Crown is...
He can't go anywhere, can he?
Just on that race, quite clearly the wheels have completely fallen off the Jason Thompson kennel. There's a group race on and he hasn't got a runner.
Yeah.
He's got the reserve, though.
That doesn't count.
I hope he doesn't get a run.
He doesn't get in, yeah.
I hope he doesn't, because he's heading to Perth today, so I'm hoping he doesn't get a run.
Okay, so we've sorted that race out. What about the Sapphire Crown, the bitches only? This is a tremendous race, and the box draw has probably thrown it wide open, punched one out. Tremendous last week. But, Daff, what do you think of box 1?
Obviously a very, very fast dog, punched one out, or a bitch. But she definitely likes to use a little bit of the track, and I'd have got major concerns with the Sally Bale drawing outside her and El Brooklyn. And
Tricky Jade can get out as well. There's a lot of pace around her. It's very similar to the Easter egg final, isn't it? Those dogs around her with speed.
It is, and she's going to be short, and I just don't know whether she should be. I mean, quite clearly she can win because of what she's capable of running, but I thought maybe the value might be in Sometimes Spoody, which might be left out there by itself. I think the 2 best dogs in the race, Punch One Out and Zylia Allen, are just going to need too much luck.
What about the chasing effort of Zylia Allen last week? Knocking them down on the first turn was an incredible chasing performance.
Yeah, she's one of the better bitches that I've ever seen. and I know she had a crack at the 700, and to be brutally honest, I hope that we don't see that again. She's just too brilliant to run the distance, but she's something special, she really is, and it wouldn't surprise if she won, but she's going to need a lot of luck from out there.
What about you, Kel? Got your pen out, Dav? Write this down.
I'm ready.
Write it down.
No, yeah, get a note of this.
This is exclusive to Dogmatic.
I've been known to pick a few trifectas. I'm actually going to go with Dazali Bale. I think the same thing. I think she's probably going to put too much pressure on, punch one out early. And she may, I think that she'll definitely lead the race. It's just, I guess, a question of whether she'll hang on, but I think she probably, she'll be pretty close. And I'm putting Elle Brooklyn in.
Actually, before you go on, she's another one in the same category as Glenn Gallen. She's got very close to winning big races in Melbourne without quite getting there. The Top Gun and the maturity she bumped into Barcia Bale. So she probably deserves to win a big race, and with Kelly Bravo's tick of approval, that might be tomorrow
That's right.
night.
I mean,
might
there's
be
nothing
Thursday
really.
night.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't even worry about tipping the rest of the field now, should I?
What, you've cut... Usually you tip 5 in a race, you've cut back to 1. Shona, say something.
I was actually going to put Shona's dog in for second, if you want the second
She's
dog.
actually written this down too, Rob. She has actually put thought into it.
Yeah. Go on, keep going.
Oh, okay. What am I? Oh, well, I've obviously, yeah, Elle Brooklyn for second. I think that, yeah, if she can begin the way she did last week, I think she's obviously going to be hard to hold out as well. And I'm going to put Zyla Ellen in for third. I think she'll be running on.
Okay, so those numbers would be, Kel?
2, 4, 6 and 1.
Got that, Dav?
That's only 4.
Yeah, that's 4, yeah. No, well...
There's still a few to come.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, they've crushed me.
Actually, just on Dazali Bale, that's what I was talking about earlier. $218,000 she's won.
Yep.
It's staggering.
Staggering prize money. Well, Elle Brooklyn's up at $280,000. It's tremendous, the amount of prize money that's available. And how is Belle, Shona? Because this time last year, Peggy May won the race, and Elle Brooklyn unfortunately fell in the back straight. She's looking for a bit of redemption. Yeah,
well, she actually didn't pull up fantastic after the run last week, but Jace has spent a fair bit of time with her this week, and she's bouncing around. So, just got to hope for a bit of luck. I'm sort of a little bit with Daff with his way of thinking. With sometimes Speedy out of box 8, there's just so much pace underneath that you could just see into that first turn there could be carnage, and sometimes Speedy might just whip around him, I think. Well, 2 weeks ago she was 100 to 1 to win this race after a first run on the track. It was terrible, and last week was sensational. So obviously things went wrong the first week, and she's improved markedly with that run under her belt. I think there might have been a few problems with her too. I did hear
Leading
Jason
into the
McKay
race or
saying
during
that
the race?
he was thinking of actually pulling her out last week. He wasn't 100% sure with her, and so probably taking that into account too. I mean, she was very gallant running second, and just off box 8. I think Jason McKay would probably prefer if they'd drawn the other way around. I think he would have liked to have seen Punch One out off the pink, but box draws tend to do that, and I'm not totally disappointed with being in box 4. It's just great to be in there. Should be a good race, Daff. You're going sometime Speedy, mate.
I am, with Zyla Allen the favourite, and I've got a bit of time for Evie's Entity too. She's one that's coming through the ranks. I think we might see her over the distance at a later stage, and I think she'll make it as a stayer. Yeah, she's going well, won 10 out of 20, and went close to breaking a track record at Bendigo, and the last 2 runs have been sensational. Look, Daff, this is your maiden voyage on Dogmatic. How have you liked it? Oh, it's been outstanding. I mean, the girls were nowhere near as bad as what you portrayed them. I
reckon we could have a spot on here for you.
He told me that you've got no idea about anything, and to tread very, very warily and cautiously.
Well, they are prima donna-ish, both of them. No, prima donnas, both of them.
I think both of them show a little bit of potential.
Oh yeah, they're at the moment at listed race level. They might make Group 3 level eventually.
Maybe what we could do is...
We've stepped up from the Tier 3s anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll just get you to a Tier 3 meeting, see how you call. Yeah,
good on you, Daff. Look, it's time for you to go now. Thanks, Jared Daffy. It's always nice to catch up with you on Dogmatic with his thoughts on the Macro meets Sapphire Crown, also the Harrison Dawson, a little bit of the history of what's been going on in Warrnambool in the last 30 years or so. Thanks, Daff.
Thanks, Rob.